For my underdogs, the ones willing to pay the cost. Even when we're up, we gotta take a loss. Underdogs are always against the odds. I'ma use this opportunity to do it for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. Yeah, my underdogs.
Welcome back to another episode of the Rec Center Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kenny Edwards, joined with my co-host, Lorenzo Parham. What's going on, man?
Hey, Ken, how you doing, man? Hey,
Good.
Ken, I'm excited, man. We had a great episode last week with Gino Vital, man. Gino came. He unpacked a lot of things from the Vital perspective in his story because, you know, they got the brotherhood, but they all got their own different story. And it brings a perfect segue to our guest today, right? So, Ken, our audience is pretty much of this guest era and a little bit over there, right? So a lot of them don't know his story. Might have heard the name. I played against him and still don't know the full story, right? And so I'm interested to hear it myself because he came out of that. It was like a quartet of Skyline receivers, but he was the only one that I think, not quote me, but was the number one in the nation at that position for his time. And Ken, I don't know if you were there or not, but we're going to impact the game that everyone keeps talking about, that Super Bowl 95, 6-2 game, and he didn't make the play at receiver, Ken. The play was on the defensive side of the ball. So we're going to have to talk about that whole playing scheme, man. So, hey, welcome LaCorey Collins to the Rec Center.
Man, I appreciate y'all having me, man. Y'all bring me back with all these memories, man. Y'all bringing me back, man.
My first
Corey,
memory
man.
was I think it was like Student Sports Magazine or one of those magazines. And I'm like in junior high, or maybe even elementary at the time. I can't remember. It was a while back. And I saw LaCorey Collins, number one receiver. And I'm like, bro, this is in my backyard. I'm like, do it. So that was kind of like my inspiration. You know, that's when I really started watching high school football. So, man, this right here, this episode right here is like, I'm like in awe.
Hey,
man,
Ken,
I appreciate it, bro.
I was a little biased to the Skyline 96 team. I was a little biased. Clarence Lewis is my god brother. And I used to be like, man, Beam ain't showing Clarence no love, man. Corey getting all the love, man. And I remember this vividly, like, hey, see, Lewis, I tried to get him to come to Tech with me. Like, hey, dude, come to Tech. You know, Coach Edwards knew he gonna give you the ball all the time, man. And I was a little biased to the Clarence Lewis hype at receiver, man. But as I looked back and did a little digging, that number one in the nation didn't come from a bias. You got to have been a dog for that number one in the nation ranking, man. So I want to pull it back on that. But let's start, man. Corey, I know we all know you play receiver and all things like that. As a youth, did you play youth football and Oakland Bay Roof baseball like a lot of our guests did?
No, I did not, unfortunately, man. I didn't play any youth football. Man, I wanted to so bad. Me and my big brother wanted to play dynamites. Man, we used to, have, neighborhood friends that played, so we wanted to play, but moms wouldn't let us play. And by the time it was, they went by weight back then. I was big, I was tall, and I was skinny, but, I was overweight. So I was like, man, I couldn't play when it was time, when I got a chance to play. So, I didn't play until high school.
Wow, that's a shocker, Ken. But now,
I'm like,
hey, Corey, we had Two Bob on the show, and Two Bob didn't play youth football either. So, but I'm thinking about your class to not play youth football, get to Skyline, and you got there in your 10th grade year, right? So you didn't even play 9th grade JV, did you?
Well, actually, I did, man. It's a story, bro. Man, I actually was on like playing with the varsity going into my 9th grade year, coming from 8th grade, playing with going up to the line, and showing up there and going against their seniors, and I was beating them, man. I was, they my boys, but Dane Gardner, Brumfield, all them, man. I was out there, and I was a young buck out there doing it, and my brother was up there already, but they didn't know exactly I was his brother, man. So I was getting out the mud real early, man, going to passing leagues and things like that.
Wow. So you walk on campus, never playing football before, and you going against Dame Gardner. You're watching Will Blackwell and them play. Even KP is there at the time, man. So
Oh, yeah.
what was that like for that transformation, stepping on campus and just even getting involved with them guys?
Well, man, I always it was big, bro, because I looked up to those guys. You know, my big bro played on the team, so I used to see these guys, man, when they played, man, when Jay Fish and Quam Ellis is on the team, man. I mean, this is back in the day when they had some. Jay Fish was the hog. They had Jamani, man. They had hogs, man. They had some real boys out there. Will Blackwell, like, man, they had some real boys out there. So I looked up to them, man, and I never played Pop Warner, so I'm like, my brother, he got a hold of their tape, man. I think they went 11-1. They lost to Bellarmine or somebody, but I used to watch it, man, like I was a coach, but just watching film, seeing them bust. So I wanted to be a part of that, man. I grew up on 84th, bro, right behind Castleman, 84th, and between Dowling and Hillside, man.
Mm.
So, man, I always wanted to go to the line, man. They had that competition there, man. They used to come up there. Rest in peace to my boy Acimo, man. Acimo was a hog for Castleman. But they used to come up there and whoop Castleman. So I wanted to go to the line, man.
That was kind of easy for you being at King of States too, because you had a lot of classmates that was going from King of States to the line as well. And them dudes I'm thinking about, we had Will Levy on the show. He started at Skyline and transferred out to McClymonds, unfortunately, man. But did you play basketball as well, leaving King of States, coming to Skyline, or were you just straight football?
I did. I played a little bit of hoop. But the way Skyline was running hoop when I was doing that King, man, we was running. You know what I mean? And I went up there. He wanted us to pass the ball 4 times before we take a shot. You know, I mean, even in transition, like a fast break, I'm like, man, come on, man. I wasn't nothing I was used to. And I had also moved from East Oakland to North Oakland at the time. So I had to catch bus in Barton. I was like, man, I ain't trying to do all that to play on that type of team and that type of coach. So I just stuck to football, man. But I also want to go back to, man, rest in peace, Clarence Lewis, man. He was a hog. Clarence was an athlete. Clarence also played backer. People don't understand. Clarence, he played beside me as a backer too, man. So he was a hog at receiver, man. He was we didn't pass the ball much, man. So when the ball did get thrown, you're gonna throw it pretty much to your number 1 receiver, man.
Definitely. I can agree to that, man. And that's one of the things that make it so big. So let me back up a little bit. Being a receiver and you coming into that team with Jamani Hogg and quarterback on varsity. You got KP. You got Oliver Newell. You got Will Blackwell. How did it manifest to being the number 1 in the nation and we in a league, this OEL period, wasn't throwing the ball that much? We had quarterbacks. One of my favorite of all time is Lou Fisher, because I was a freshman at Fremont Lou senior year. We had Jace Goree, who could throw the field. Jace Goree, who could throw the ball all around. So how did it manifest the number 1 in the nation in a league that's not throwing the ball as much? We look at teams now, and I'm like, hey, if we could play in a spread formation like they do now, oh, man, we would go crazy. So how did that whole manifest to that number 1 in the nation ranking?
Well, actually, I don't believe I was number 1 in the nation as a receiver. I think I was number 3 in the nation as an athlete. Because when I looked in the polls, I think Tim Couch was number 1, somebody else was number 2, and I was number 3 as far as like in the nation. As a receiver, man, I think I got a lot of through passing leagues and you know, stuff like that is where I think I got a lot of recognition, combine, something like that. You know, high school combines, tore it up at the high school combine, man. But so that. And then, you know, my junior year, I had a pretty decent year as a receiver, man. But my senior year, I also had a decent year. Could have been, you know, a lot more. If I would have caught some passes, I should have caught, man. My boy Kahil Jones, and, you know, some of them he put in my hands and I dropped them, man. So I'm going to keep it real 100 over here, man. I dropped it, probably like 3 of them I should have got, man.
But this is before YouTube and all that. It's like, do you know you're number 3 in the nation? Do you know, like, who Tim Couch is? Do you know who all these other, like?
Man, I didn't know who none of them guys was, bro, because I'm coming out of Oakland, the Oakland Athletic League. Man, I was getting awards from CCS League, and I'm like, man, I'm in the OAL. Like, I don't, but I competed against them in like a pass league, scrimmage, or whatever like that. So I kind of like, I'm like, but I was receiving some things that I was like kind of baffled about because I was in the OAL.
Right.
You know, I got some OAL rewards, you know, being All-American, did all that stuff as well. But some of the things I was receiving, I was like, man, I didn't even play in this division. Like, we didn't have a playoff besides, you know, playoff game, then Silver Bowl, you know?
Right.
So it was a little different for me then, man, receiving that stuff. But I took it in stride.
Man, what was Coach Beam like when you first got to Skyline versus by the time you finished at Skyline? What was Coach Beam like in his coaching structure and style?
Coach Beam was always him, man. He was 100. He'd get in your face. He'll tell you what you need to do. He'll hold you accountable. And, man, he took care of you when you was on the right path, man. Like, you know what I mean? I know it's a lot of people that, you know, got rough feelings about Beam. Some people love him. Some people don't really like him like that. But that dude helped me so much as a youngster, too. Like, he took me under his wing because my brother was up there. My brother had a chance to go to college. He ended up not going to college, SAT top 10 stuff. But he took me under his wing. He told me, he said, I'm not going to let you go down the same route your brother went. And it was like I was in the 10th grade, man. And he used to tell me, he's like, man, you know how good you are? He's like, you don't even have to play, and I can get you a scholarship. Just get your grades right. And I'm like, what? I'm hearing, I wouldn't even think about college as a 10th grader, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. But, yeah, he put it on my mind, and he held me under his wing, and we attacked it.
Hey, man, that's crazy story, man. Like you said, man. And I think it's like that with most coaches when they see, hey, this person is on the right track. I'm going to guide him more to get there as opposed to, hey, this person is not doing nothing. Skyline got a whole bunch of girls, and it is easy to fall off at Skyline with a whole bunch of girls there, being honest,
Man,
right? But
real talk, it is, man. It's a lot of distraction. And plus, it's on the hill. You know, it's on the hill. It's not like, you know, it's kind of like it's a little out the area, man. You got to get up that hill pretty much, and there ain't no off-campus, you know, lunch. So, you know, you doing what you got to do to get in and get out of there. But yeah, man, it's a little distance for a lot of people, man.
Hey, what was the OEL competition like when you first got there? Because your years, I want to say your sophomore year, or maybe your sophomore year, Skyline lost to Oakland High in the Silver Bowl. And that was the last we heard of Oakland High for years to come. Like, they went on like a 15-year drought, if I'm not mistaken, up until when Ken. So they went on.
I never made the playoffs.
Oh yeah, so they went on a drought. But what was it like, the competition?
That year, my sophomore year, that's when they had KP. Rest in peace, KP. Another Hog. They had Jay Scoree throwing that rock, and he went deep on us, man. He took us deep, man, and he took his helmet off and did all the throws, and KP was on, man. Like, so, and they had, you know, we lost that, but the following year, we played Ohio in the Silver Bowl again. They had Mike Bond them.
Hold on, Skyline made it? Oh, yeah, then the following year, y'all played
year, my junior year, we played them in the Silver Bowl.
Y'all played them in the Silver Bowl. Mike Bond them year.
Mike Bond them year.
Okay, yeah, and that was the last we heard of them after that, pretty much so.
Yeah, because my senior year, then we played Fremont in the Silver Bowl.
Fremont in the bowl.
It was changing up a little bit, you know, because it used to be Skyline and Mac all the time back in the day when they had Marlon Hendricks. But I'm taking y'all back, but I'm taking you to the early '90s, man. So, but yeah, man, they had Skyline was always there though. Always.
So how was the competition for you in the OEL when you first got there?
It was big for me because I wanted to, you know, I didn't play Pop Warner. I wanted to show these boys I can play, and you know, like I used to play, you know, we on the streets, we at school doing whatever, man, and I'm like, man, I know I can. This fool is starting, he balling, he bringing home trophies. I'm like, I know I can ball against these fools, man. And so when I got up there, that was my challenge. Is like, okay, I'm gonna show them that I can play, and not just I can play, man, I can dominate.
Hey,
That was my mentality because I always loved football, bro.
That's
So-
just the
so-
Oakland mentality in general. Like
in
when you
general,
step
like,
on the field, it ain't for fun. It's for domination. It's for
It-
To
pride.
dominate, man.
Yeah.
and
To
it's like
dominate.
I want to prove I belong. Though I do want to
Yeah.
prove I belong here
Yeah.
because Ken, you hear the names that Corey just said. I was young and hearing these names, and I could say I'll be on the field a little. I want to prove myself, but I'm kind of starstruck. It's
Right.
AP on this field. It's fucking Jace Goree. It's Lavelle Sims,
Yeah.
Omari Murphy.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I watched them as a little kid. If I'm on the field with them, I want to prove myself, but I'm kind of starstruck. But
Tyson Anderson.
Tyson, Lamont Couch, and them guys, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Lamont
like
Couch. R.I.P. Lamont Couch, man.
Lamont Couch. So I want to prove myself, but at the same time, it's like, hey, dude, I got to prove I belong because I'm on the field with these dudes I looked up to. And that's pretty much what the OEL was year in, year out for the people that came before us. Then the ones that came after us always felt I got to prove I belong in this league. And in football, we kind of like we get the short end of the stick. It's not as competitive as basketball was, but the OEL, man, them playing them games, the McClimats, the Fremonts, the Skyline on the hill, and they doing their SKY cheers. Like that become intimidating for after a while, right?
Man, hey, but I'm a flip it for you because to keep it 100, if the people in the OEL, if they was going to the right school district, supposed to go to the school district they supposed to went to, Castlemont would be a living legend.
Always said
High
that.
school.
Always
Castlemont
said
would
that.
be.
Yes.
Man, it will be ridiculous.
Yes.
Ridiculous. Castlemont to be up there like a Mount Rushmore in high school
Yeah.
football, man.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, man.
Hey, shout out to Coach Ed, because Coach Ed go hear this. The Castlemont coach follow our page real deep. Coach Ed is going to hear this, and he's going to start a petition. He's going to start a petition that these kids go to school in their district, that Castlemont could get back some legacy going on. Hey, so Corey,
But hold on though. That makes me exempt though, because when my year came, they came out with a program called the Future Teacher Academy. People used to use different address, but when the Future Teacher Academy came, that's how I got into Skyline.
What's the Future Teacher Con?
Yeah,
man, they came out. I guess it was a little academy to where it would prepare future teachers. If you wanted to be a future teacher, or you could say you wanted to be a future teacher or whatever, it selected a few people. I don't really know the instances. I just know I got into the program. And that's how I got to the line. Because Bean put it on my mind too. So it was meant to be for me.
Yeah, that's like Oakland High had the Visual Arts Academy. So it's like if you say you want to be in the video, it don't matter where you live, you can go to Oakland High.
Ken, we had all the academies at Tech, and people still was
still was leaving.
Still was leaving. That wasn't helping us right there. Hey, but Corey, what was your welcome to the OEL moment when you were playing?
My welcome to the OEL moment was when we played Ohio. I had I think we played Castlemont, and I was on kickoff return or something. I'm trying to get a block, or I don't know if it was I was on kickoff team or something, but I separated my AC joint. So I missed like 2 weeks or something, and Ohio came up there. That's when they had Omari Murphy. They had some boys. They had squad, man. And I came in, man, and I was juiced to get back, and I ran a slant. Cahill Jones was our quarterback. See, we were sophomores starting at varsity too. It was like 4 of us. It was me, Cahill Jones, Jay Charlin Jones, Donald Deco, and I believe that was it. But yeah, he threw me a slant, man, and then one of their safeties came up, and I mean, he hit me like it was like a Cam Chancellor hit, but I held on. I held on, man, and it was like a welcome to the league, man, welcome to the OAL league, and yeah, I was ready. Took off from there.
So let me piggyback on your junior year real quick, Corey. So your sophomore year, you and Cahill, Jay Charlie, you guys all starting. You all build a rapport. Cahill the quarterback, you the receiver. That following year, Bean brings in Billy Cockerham, and he becomes the quarterback. What did that do as far as like you and Cahill, or the what's the word I'm looking for? the
camaraderie,
that you and Cahill had, man. How did that help out with Billy Cockerham?
I mean, me and Cahill was still strong, but Cahill he went to play tight end that year. So and Billy was nice, bro. Billy had touch. Billy could throw. He was also mobile. And we played against him my sophomore year. He went to Clayton Valley at the time. And he was nice then. So I guess Bean was in his recruiting mode then. So when he got a chance to get him, he didn't hesitate on getting him. And we welcomed Billy, with open arms. But after the season, he shook on us. he dipped.
Hey, so did Billy have his scholarship offered to Minnesota before Beam, or whether after that year he played, he got it, then he cut? What was that?
It was after that year, I believe, man, because he wouldn't have came to Skyline if he already had a ship, man,
Right.
So he came up there, he earned his ship, he earned the scholarship, and as a parent, you should work it like that if you got a chance to, because coming from Clayton Valley, you like, okay, I know my boy can ball. Let's put him in Skyline, I know it's OAL, but, we can just send him back here and finish his education after he finished. So I think that's a big move for a parent, but I think that's how it worked out for Billy, but it worked.
It worked out for Billy. It worked out for y'all team, because after losing to Oakland High the year before, y'all come back and beat Oakland High in the Super Bowl. What did that do to a Cahill and a Coach Bean relationship? Like, do Cahill walk away feeling like, hey, dude, you didn't believe in me, so you brought this dude in to get us over the hump? Like, how did that work out with their relationship?
I mean, they always had the coach quarterback relationship, man. You make mistakes, he gonna reprimand you, he gonna get on you. But at that position, he gonna get on you probably a little bit harder because he's expecting more from you as well. And plus, you've been here since you was a sophomore, so But Cahill took it in stride, bro, and he was a good teammate because the following year he was our quarterback.
He was y'all quarterback.
Ooh,
that following year.
That's touchy.
But hold on, though.
As a fellow quarterback, that's touchy.
Yeah.
That is, though.
Ken,
that is.
You out, Ken?
Huh?
Are you transferring?
It depends on what my options are. It's hard to leave Beam, and then
you had another year, though.
Well, where I'm gonna go?
Yes, I mean you could go a couple spots.
If I have those options open, I'm leaving. But if it's like I can't go to Oakland High if Jace is there.
No, Jace was gone.
But no, Jay was gone. Jay gone now, because he played my sophomore year.
Jace was gone.
Bro, you can't bring in somebody, bro. Just the way I'm built, you can't dump me and then your man leave you and then you come back to me.
Hey, it's one of those situations, man. Hey, but you.
Hey, C. Lou was our backup quarterback.
C. Lou was the backup. I remember that. Hey,
C. Lou, I'll be honest, my senior year, I had my best game with C. Lou as my quarterback against Councilman as a receiver wise. That was my as far as stats. I had probably 110 and 2 tugs. I was like, see Lou, boy.
Hey, but Corey, so I'm gonna give you a couple of little questions real quick, man. You watch the show. Me and Ken do this start bench cut, right? And we gonna do it with some OEL quarterbacks, right? So start bench cut, and they all good quarterbacks where you can't go wrong. But so out of the three, we have Jace Goree, Lou Fisher, and Billy Cockerham.
Well, I gotta start Jace off top. That's hands down. But I don't really. I know a Fish, but I ain't really seen too much of him. So I played with Billy. And Billy was getting it in. So I might have to, bench Billy and cut Fish, man.
Bench Billy and cut Fish. Bench Billy, cut Fish. Hey, that's a real debatable one, man. I think Lou was a natural baseball player, so it was one of those things. But being a freshman and watching Lou now play, he handled his business. You couldn't go wrong, right? But now I got to flip it.
Who was quarterbacking when JT was there? Jason.
That was Lou Fish.
Oh well, shit.
Which,
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I used to look at the paper like JT. Them got it, man. This what? I'm like, man. So I'm like, man, we got to start running 25 power and we got to start popping this thing, man. Because that's what we eating over there. Man. He was eating over there, man. He was eating
So
free mind, man.
JT was my mentor as a freshman and practicing in wide receiver drills with JT, man. I'm real JT biased, which is why I'm about to bring you another start bench cut from the receiver standpoint, right? And I'm gonna name 4 receivers because you're gonna have to cut 2 of them, right?
Cut and kick the hell up out of here.
One of them is James Thompson. You got JT. You got Oliver Newell. You got Clarence Lewis. I know my pick, brother and all, but you got Clarence Lewis, and we just gonna go with them 3 because the 4th one I'm gonna say let's go Will Blackwell for the 4th one.
Man, you can't do that, dog.
High school only.
I'm taking Will Blackwell as a receiver over me. So.
All right.
Wow.
So you starting Will. Now they get real interesting. Hey, my Skyline people, somebody might get cut. Do not be mad at the Skyline receiver.
Well, as a receiver, man. So we got JT. I'm gonna have to bench JT, and I'm cutting. Who is it? Oliver and
Clarence.
As far as I'm talking about production. See, Clarence didn't really get a chance to produce like that because I was on the other side, and that was his. I think that was his only year playing receiver. So, man, rest in peace to the homie. But I'm gonna have to go ahead and cut Clarence, man, and JT and Will, man, and it got to be his Will. Will's a limit. He kind of up there, bruh. He kind of up there.
Hey, you can't go. I'm not wrong. Listen to me. If I'm a coach, offensive coordinator, and I get to pick my receivers out of them 4, I'm picking JT and Will too. Right? I'm picking Will too.
Who you start?
Hey, them are real receivers. See, Oliver is an athlete too. He can get it in too. But sometimes his hands wasn't. He was, Oliver. Sometimes he was just letting him slip through. He got you beat. Hey, you should let him slip through sometime, man.
Hey, man, absolutely, man. Ken, you said who I'll start receiver?
Yeah, who you got? As a receiver, you got?
The kind of receiver I am. JT, my guy, man. But JT didn't have the speed. I'm a speed, so I got to go with Will Blackwell and then JT. I wouldn't mind putting JT at Z. I would put him I'll put him at the Z any minute now. And things like that. Don't mind that. Because JT had a fast receiver on the side of him, and Bart. And Bart, and Bart had wheels, but he would drop passes sometimes and things like that. But I'll start Will Blackwell. I'll definitely start Will Blackwell.
And cut JT.
So Corey,
bench JT.
Huh?
Bench JT.
I bench JT, but I'm cutting the other 2.
Yeah.
Hey, but Corey, being highly recruited, 3rd in the nation, and like that, what was that recruit like? Because I remember it was something where you had like camera crews coming up to Skyline and things like that, man. What was the overall recruiting like? Like what year did it start until you sign it?
Well, I was getting a lot of letters as a junior, man. Well, actually, even after sophomore, I got a couple letters, after my sophomore year. But when it started happening, it was my senior year when the camera crew and everybody came up there. I was like sports focused and everything like that. So.
Yeah.
I was getting a lot of love and I was getting a lot of pub. So I just wanted to let my team shine too, man. I wanted to, we walking around the whole campus, man. We got my ball players over there, we all about to. So it was always a team atmosphere at the line, man. So, man, it was a lovely situation, man. Sometimes I look back at it, man, and it's kind of like breathtaking because, before that, I wasn't seeing none of that. Sports Focus put a lot of us on a map Not to mention the OG, the legend, Mario Bobineau, who been doing it for years, man. That boy,
Absolutely.
he hard, man. Man, shout out to you, boy. I love you for your videos, man. I've been watching him since I was a youngster, and he's still putting out good content. So Mario Bobineau was a king at it, though.
Hey man, so I watched it with JT and Lou. Like I remember JT back then. If Ken, you might not remember this, Ken. If you got athlete of the week back then, it wasn't four. It was one person with athlete of the week, and it was a big ass spread, right? You got the
Remember they used to draw the picture
drew
in
your
all the
picture,
cartoons?
They didn't take a picture.
Yeah.
They drew a picture of you in like a painting and whatnot, right? And I remember it. So I saw that as a freshman. And I'm like, damn, JT is at the top. They wrote a whole article about him with this cartoon drawing, and I thought that was it. This is the height of it. And then Corey come with a camera crew following him around, the third recruit in the nation. So Corey, you guys play your junior year, you get the hub. Your senior year, y'all got a schedule out of this world. Jackie Crooks on your schedule for James Logan. You guys playing St. Francis and all of those things, right? What was it like and you guys had a great team too. Y'all had fucking all them D1s on y'all team, but what was it like for playing them guys? And I'm not sure if you guys played De La Salle or not, but do you think you guys, I remember the Jackie Crooks game vividly, right? But what was it like getting up to play them good teams weekly in the preseason?
Man, it was lovely, man. We also went to Hawaii too.
Y'all played St. Louis, right?
And then we played St. Louis. Shout out to Bean, because Bean was getting us out of Oakland, man. Clarence, that was his first time going on the plane, going to Hawaii, man. Like, man, that's breathtaking for a youngster, a coach doing stuff like that. But to get on your point, man, let's go ahead and review that one again, man. I lost my train of thought.
I said, man, what was it like getting yourself mentally ready for each one of them highly ranked Bay Area teams?
Oh yeah, it was nice, man, because we was getting outside playing, and we knew we was playing competition. Jackie Crooks was a boy. He didn't have the speed, but he had vision and balance, and he knew what, you know what I mean. And that boy can run the ball. He just didn't have the top end speed. And we played him my junior year, and we beat him real bad because we came off of St. Louis and we lost that game, so we was ready to play. We beat him up at Logan. So when they came to the hill, man, he ran for 200 on us. But I had my boy Will Brown, my D lineman. He was out. I had 2 D linemen out, and that was the first year Clarence was playing backer, man. And he was right beside me, and Jackie had 200 on us, man.
Hey, I remember the Sports Focus like it was yesterday, because I'm giving Clee Lewis some shit about it, because the way Jackie Crooks shook him, it was like Jackie Crooks shook him, and he went in a circle, and Jackie Crooks had his hand on the ground, not really falling, and then get like another 25 yards. And I'm like, hey, see, Lou, like that's embarrassing right there, man. Like we lost about 50 that week, but that's embarrassing for you.
And Jackie had balance and vision, and he had a good fullback too. He had his fullback has a little cuts on everything, man. And I'm coming in feeling and hitting, and I'm feeling his power too. So, you know what I mean? I'm like, he had a good fullback too, but you know what I mean? It was some errors on our end on the defense that like mental errors and things like that broke us down and get whooped like that and ran on for 200. So having my players out and we having our mental errors, man. He was a great back. He was a good back too. So I can't take nothing from Jackie.
Hey, Corey, I remember back then, Beam said that you were one of the best athletes he have coached there in like a 15-year span, where you could have been rated high either on offense or defense. Where did the defense mentality came from, seeing as though you was a receiver? Where did that defensive mentality come from?
Man, I don't know if y'all can see that back there, man, but that's my big bruh. Like we didn't play youth football, but we used to love football, man. We used to be on our knees in the house because mom wouldn't let us get out the house. We stayed on 8-4. It's a bunch of things going on down the street. So, she kept us in the house and didn't let us out the house until like 2 o'clock. And this during the summertime, whatever, man. She get off at 3, so we got an hour, but we used to be in the house just, playing, putting, socks in our shirts, tackling each other. Man, we had a we had a drill we call up the middle. And we'd take it outside with the folks, you know, at Councilman, man. And you have the cone here. You got to come straight up the middle. You can't go outside. You can't do that. So that prepared me to be on defense, man. Because when I got to the line, Bean just wanted me to play receiver. When I played a little bit of JV, I played receiver. Ninth grade, I had to play JV. I was too young to play ball, but I was practicing with the ball.
Hey, man. So when you hear Beam say something like that, man, what did that feel like to hear that you was one of the top athletes he coached in a 15-year period? Because Skyline was full of athletes, you know, to be a basically in your time there, you was a 2-year rookie basically. You still fresh and new. To hear that you were one of the best in a 15-year span, how did that, you know, how you feel about that?
Man, it made me feel good because I watched that. That was on Sports Focus, man. That was my senior year. That was going into the season, and it was big for me because I know what came through the sky. I knew who came through Skyline, but I played defense like a #1 recruit, and I played receiver the same way. So you know, it wasn't like, you know, I played receiver. I can't really give it all on defense. I was out there balling because that's what I knew to do.
What was you like 6'4", 2 at your senior year? Like, how big are you? Your senior year?
I was 6'4". I know when I took my recruiting trip to Oregon, I was 208.
So
I was probably like 200, 205, 6'4", 205 in high school.
Monster.
And at that time, that was what they considered a transcending player, because at the time it wasn't that many big receivers like that, you know.
It wasn't, man. It wasn't that many big receivers like that, and especially playing middle backer and having the impact that I had at backer. You know what I mean? Because so that was the difference, man. That's why I say I became that athlete, because sometimes I was getting offended, like, man, they got me an athlete. I'm like, I'm a receiver, man, you know. But in real life, bro, I was just a true athlete, man. That's what it was. Because I can also play a little quarterback too, man.
Everybody thinks they can play quarterback.
Hey, that's real. That's real. Everybody thinks they can until they get back there and see that rush.
All receivers think they open, and everybody think they can play quarterback.
Hey, you're right, Ken. You're right, Ken. Straight up.
But Corey, when we do some digging and we look at the receivers of your class that you was rated ahead of, me and Ken talked about it offline. Plexico Burris, you rated ahead of Plexico Burris. R.J. Sauer, you read ahead of R.J. Sauer. Can't say R.J. Sauer one of his favorite players,
one of my favorite players at SC.
So, but a lot of them guys was also one position focused, right?
Exactly.
If we see a Corey Collins who, and it becomes a OAL thing and a need for a team. Like, we're not even like a De La Salle that can go get 70 players out where you can play these different positions. If you plan strictly receiver and things like that, and for that size, you were at a 4.6 40. That's fast for that size, right? Which I still talk about Fremont to this day on how coming off of a neat tree, y'all couldn't catch him before he got a pick six. Like, what the hell was going on to where you couldn't catch him before he got the pick six? But if you was one position focused, do you think that would have helped the transition going off into Oregon when you went there?
That's kind of hard to say, but you time to think about it, because I had to really learn how to play receiver when I got to college. Like, you know, like I said, we came from a running team, man, 25 power, you know, and what we ran was 444 backs flat, or we running streaks, you know, 444 backs flat is all curls with the backs coming out. So I still remember them plays, and I didn't been through college and all that. Probably got a little CTE, and I still remember that,
man. Hey, we had your teammate on. Shout out to Art Young. He was the first guest we ever had on the Rec Center. And
shout out to Big. That's Black Art, man. I love that boy.
Art Young was telling us how basically, I'm going to hear from your point of view, that he had a Skyline, even though Skyline and Oakland High had they rivaled as close as games was, that the Skyline and MAC rival to him was like no other. How did you feel about the Skyline and MAC rival, because he said basically my climate players looked at them, are you guys as if y'all the rich kids on the hill, right? Like y'all the rich kids on the hill, and that you guys weren't tough enough to play against them, but even though you guys beat them, right? Did you experience that same thought process from McClymonds?
Mine wasn't with Mac. Mine was with Ohio because Ohio had beat me. Matter of fact, they beat my brother and them when they had Mike Fry at the man. It was Ohio, bro. Ohio was mine, man, because I wanted to get with them because they beat my brother his senior year, man, and and then they beat me my sophomore year. So mine was Ohio. It wasn't Mac. But I can understand because the whole OAL besides Skyline looked at us like we was the rich kids on the hill, man. We used to get our buses thrown at, tissue, whatever, man. So everybody used to try to hoorah, the Skyline, but like we was just prissy and just some privileged kids or something, man. But nah, man, it was some real town bound people on that squad, man.
It was a whole bunch of future teacher academy students that lived elsewhere. Right? Hey, man. So, hey, let's talk about the Fremont games your senior year, right? What was the score of I know we're going back 25 years or so, but do you remember what the score was of the regular season game against Fremont?
16-0.
16-0 the regular season game, which is still a low score. That's still a low scoring game. That's still low scoring for Skyline. That's low scoring for Skyline.
I didn't score that regular season game.
Yeah, so that's still a low scoring for Skyline. And then we get to this Silver Bowl. What do you feel? We're not going to take nothing away from Fremont. They had a really good team, good defense. Tabiti, led by Tabiti at linebacker. But what was it about them that knew how to keep y'all in check y'all senior year?
Man, I just seen Tabiti post something on Facebook about that being the best defense on the OL, and I had to, reply to that. But be honest, that regular season game, I know y'all do y'all underrated, overrated, but one underrated player is Jason Cooper. He was our tailback. And Jay Coop had 150 on them the regular season game. Like, he scored the touchdowns. I didn't score. But Silver Bowl, just like I said to the media, I was hurt, man. So y'all able to stack the box. Y'all knew I wasn't going to be official like that at the receiver position. Y'all stacking the box. So, so they shut him down. They shut our run down. They shut our offense pretty much down. We had a trick play through a little receiver screen. Like I said, I could throw a little quarterback, man. It was to me, but I had to go low and catch it, and my knee hit the ground. And, it would have been a tug, but, you can't touch the ground in high school, man. You down right there.
Hey, one of the things that we would say on the Rec Center, you said underrated with Jason Cooper. I would never call Jay Coop underrated because Jay Coop he was a 4.340 Ken way back. He was probably 4.340 when we was at Bret Hart. He was probably the 4.340 at Bret Hart.
You ain't lying, bro. Coop is one of the fastest dudes I ever been encountered with, bro. I probably had like a 40-meter start on him on the track one time. He passed me like I was standing still, bro.
Yeah.
And he also went to Oregon with me, so I know Coop. Some people say Coop, man, but Coop earned his scholarship, man. Coop was doing his thing, and that year, who was a better running back in the OL than Jason Cooper?
So this is the thing. This is the conversation we have with Art, right? Because we got Jason Cooper, but I think Jason Cooper was fast and all of that. But I'm liking Jay Charlin as a better running back for what I need him to run inside and out, right? And you had Art at fullback, but one of the things, I don't know if you saw this, our last guest said that basically Skyline running backs as a group was overrated because of Bean blocking scheme. Bean was the first one with the lineman getting off to the second and third level. So the running back was kind of easy. So how do you feel about a statement like that?
Man, I heard that statement. And I was just watching that interview before, but I didn't see the total interview, but I did hear that part. And I was like, man, come on, bruh. And then that's not even possible, bruh. And Ken felt some way about it too. I was like, hey, man, you got Dame Lynch, you got John Fisher, Kwame Ellis, you got Dame Gardner, you got Derek Gardner, you got man, you got so many.
So many, man.
But do you feel that you could have plugged anyone in there and it's still effective?
No, because I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you this: my senior year, Jay Coop and Jay Charlin was supposed to be the starting running backs, but Joe Cannon and his cousin, I forgot his cousin's name, Lamar. They end up starting because they wasn't Beam wasn't having it. He was like they wasn't running hard enough. They wasn't doing what they supposed to do. So the first couple games of the season, Joe and Lamar was back there. I mean, he'd bring them in sparingly, and then Coop had a little ankle injury here and there, but Jay Charlin was supposed to be the bell cow that year, I believe, and Beam wasn't. He had to get on him about running a little bit harder, and then when they started doing that, man, Coop and Jay Charlin became a tandem out. But Jay Charlin could kick out the backfield. He can run. He elusive. Coop was straight line, man. He hitting that sideline. He gone. If he had vision, Coop would have been in the league type back. That dude has separation speed.
So you were at Oregon with Jay Coop. Why did Jay Coop sign to play cornerback? Did he play running back at Oregon, or was he signed for cornerback?
He played both.
He played both at Oregon.
They switched him. Yeah, he played both at Oregon. He played some corner. Coop could have been a good corner, but he needed a lot of work at corner. Being just fast, man. And, I'm running 4.6, and I know you 4.3, and I'm taking you deep. But that's a lot of people. Like, it's a lot. He wasn't the only one. It's a lot of fast corners out there. I was like, and I know I'm not fast. I'm taking them deep though. Like, come on. So it's all about
DB is the technique position.
You got football speed too. That football speed, man.
Absolutely. So let's piggyback to this play going into your senior year, right? They stacked the box on you guys, but y'all, man, they up 2-0. They up 2-0, and
let's get how they get to 2-0.
What happened? Give it the 2 points. How they get the safety?
We trying to punt, man. I think we had to like the 10 or the little bit inside their red zone and our red zone, whatever regardless. But we try to snap the ball to the punter and it goes over his head. Let know our punter is my D line, Roger Fano, my boy. It goes over his head. It was too high, so it goes out the end zone. They get the 2 points. That's how they get.
And what quarter was that?
I don't know. What quarter is it? I think it was after halftime.
Yeah,
but I know
they were leading all the way up into the third quarter for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like 5 minutes left in the game, and they decided to throw that rock.
Well, now before we get there, are y'all nervous?
I mean, me, I don't believe we was nervous. We probably was, man. But because they had a team, we wasn't really moving the ball on offense.
Yeah. And
so
you lost 2 years before that.
Huh?
You lost 2 years before that, so it's like Skyline is beatable. They hold y'all down. Yeah. You hurt.
I'm hurt.
Are y'all getting like ants? Like, oh shit.
Yeah, man. We like, oh man, what's going down, man? But I'm still focused. We all still focused, man. We know the game ain't over. I think they was thinking the game is kind of over because
they getting excited.
I mean, it was a 41-yard interception return, so they had to be like thought the game was over because I'm still running that ball regardless. Like, why? But it was a nice play because a lot of us bid on that. Thought it was going to be a run.
So back us up now. Walk us from the huddle. Like, what you want to say? You want to come in, Lo?
Man, I'm thinking about it. So here's me, right, as a coach, right? And I don't know. I remember Coach Green calling 8 plays at the time. Coach Denny was more doing defense, whatever. But I'm not throwing the ball at all. My defense got Skyline shut out in the fourth quarter. I don't give a damn if it's 4th and 15. Here, take the ball. We going back on defense, right? So when they called this play, Ken, and my fact, Corey, you give us a play on your play because you the one made the play.
So when we broke defense and they came out, because they ran like a wing T kind of option type offense.
Yep.
And I'm looking like, I didn't bite on the run at all. I don't believe me stepping up a little bit. Because me being 6'4", that's a good, as a middle back, I used to see everything. I could see you trying to fake the handoff or give a draw, man. So I was just back there and I just seen him and then he pulled up. And I got a picture frame of it. I got the picture, man. I'm reaching before the ball is even there. Like I see the ball, the ball's away from me, but my hands is open like this. So I see it coming and I just I grab it. I'm on one leg and I little side step, hop on one leg and try to put whatever speed I had left onto the end zone, man. So that was that.
Corey, who did your tape job for you that day? Because your knee was all wrapped. Your knee was wrapped up. You look like a wrestler, man. Your knee was wrapped up like a wrestler, and you running down you breaking, you running down the sideline. You can barely bend your knee, and you score, and it definitely changed the atmosphere of Super Bowl. Like the crowd is drained at that time. Fremont is drained completely as a player, but that tape job was so horrible. I didn't think you could get to the house that bad. But when you did that, man, did that solidify you in your legacy as a Skyline Titan?
The person who did that tape job, my defensive coordinator, Jerry Cook, his son, Anthony Cook, I'm believing that's what it is, man. My memory ain't all as good as it used to be. But, man, it was a hell of a tape job because, man, to be honest, I didn't know the severity of that injury, but it was pretty. It wasn't. I thought it was just a hyperextension, but it was more than that. I had a little bit of ligament damage, but and I did it against Ohio, So he did that tape job, man, and it felt stable to me. It was stable enough for me to play that whole game. I mean, I felt a lot of pain, but I was still I didn't want to give up on Coach Beam, my team, because my brother, he told me his senior year, a couple players didn't play against Ohio. And he told me a lot of players didn't play, or some of the players that didn't play because they already had scholarships. So it's man, I didn't want to be one of them dudes to be I got a Skyly already. I'm hurt, but but I'm man, this is what I breathe. This is what I came here for. I wasn't going to give up on Beam. I wasn't going to give up on the team. So I was going to play regardless. I had missed the playoff game against Mac. We took care of Mac regardless. You know what I mean? They took care of they ain't need me. They took care of them and got to the championship. And I was, that's when I got that tape job, man. And the rest is history, bro, because my knee was pretty jacked up, dog.
Hey, so
it's still kind of jacked up. It go further back than this other one, man.
Yeah, we all got one of them. We all got a body part like that.
Yeah, you already know.
I didn't get that much contact, Kim. My body is fine.
Your body feel great, huh? I went to Oakland High during the not so glory year, so I do got some aches and pains.
Hey, so after you get that interception touchdown, y'all win a Super Bowl. How did the recruiting change for you? Did anybody ever try recruiting you as a 6'4" linebacker other than receiver? Any other schools try to recruit you on defense?
Yes. A lot of schools try to. Oregon State wanted me to play strong safety. I remember Coach calling me, telling me, he's like, I want you to be the next Reggie Tongue. Because Reggie Tongue was out there putting in work. He's like, man, I was like, Reason why I wanted to play receiver because of J.J. Stokes. When I seen J.J. do what he did at UCLA, I used to watch UCLA. I wanted to go to UCLA hella bad. And I seen him get drafted to my team, the Niners. I'm a Niner fan. I'm like, we kind of like the same build. I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and play receiver. Coach Bean wanted me to play backer. Backer was so natural for me, man. Backer was just natural, bro, because of being on my knees playing with Big Bro, playing up the middle, man. It came natural, man. And my height, and being a little bit athletic, man, it was match made. Because I started off at an outside backer.
Mm.
And Bean moved me to the middle because we played James Logan, and we had like a little formation to where it shifted me to the middle. I read the play so fast. I didn't make the play, but he watched the film and he's like, man, who is that? And he didn't want anything. And after that, he put me at middle. We played St. Francis that year. I was balling, and he started calling me Jameer. And I'm like, this is when Jameer Miller was at UCLA playing backer. Yeah, so yeah, my mindset always was a receiver, bro. It was like that's what I wanted to play. So
when you got to Oregon, matter of fact, let's get to that. What made you choose Oregon over like staying home at Cal or going to another Pac-12 school, Pac-10 school back then? What made you choose Oregon over the other schools?
Cause like I said, man, I wanted to go to UCLA real bad, bro. I took a trip. Like, we from the town. We say blood and cuz like it's just saying, what's up, bro, nigga, what's up? Like, stuff like, you know. Right. But when I get me and Tabiti on the trip, my boy Tabiti for free, I know, you know what I mean? But so we on the trip, we on the same trip together. We got our host, we chilling, we in the car, we just, talking Silver Bowl stuff or just talking stuff. We like, we had blood, but they like, man, quit slapping me, cuz. I'm like, we don't gangbang from where we from, right? So my trip wasn't good. My trip there wasn't good. So I was like, I talked to Tabiti, I left a Facebook message, we messaged each other talking about this, man. It was like, they killed it for us going there. Because if they would have got it, I wanted to go. He said he wanted to go, man. It could have been some things at UCLA. I took my mom on that trip too, man. I really wanted to go to UCLA. And Terry Donahue, I knew he was lying. He said he's going to stay, but he ended up leaving. So, but I just wanted to go there, bro. JJ made me want to go there. And it was in LA. Beverly Hills, that campus was nice. Yeah. They had a mall.
It's still nice. It's still nice.
Yeah, I remember I asked Ray Young, I was like, why did you choose UCLA? He was like, bro, have you ever been to UCLA? I was like, okay, enough said.
And they had some women, man. When we walking on campus, I'm looking, I see a bunch of women taking a picture. They all nice looking, good, bad ones. And I'm like, what was that? And they like, oh, that's the track team. I'm like, bro, that's just the track team. Like, man, that's why it's probably a good reason I ain't go to UCLA.
I feel like when you picking a college is like the system of the offense, of the defense, and then the women. And that's how you make your choice.
Hey, man.
And also, you should have at least more than just a weekend, man. You should have a week there at least, man,
It's a reason why it's just a weekend.
I can't do it.
Exactly.
It's a reason.
I could not have done my week at Arizona State recruiting trip. In fact, they would have kicked me out. It's only me not even gonna offer you he ain't gonna offer you nothing. You ain't came out here and turned it out. You're not coming here. Hey, so
exactly.
Low would have brought his partners with him on his trip.
My partners had to come. They had to come. Hey, Corey.
Hey, but hey, that can play a part in you making a good decision because sometimes, man, you know, you can make it because. We all live with it sometimes, and I kind of regret some of that decision making. But I look at it a lot. But I'm glad I went there, and but I also still think, man, what if I would have went here? Because I canceled my trip to USC just because I had a bad trip at UCLA. I was like, I ain't messing with LA dudes like that. They wasn't feeling us like that. They wasn't feeling our base swag like that back then. So.
Hey, but you know what I always thought, Corey? When you got to Oregon, was KP still there?
Yeah. KP was there.
So I thought, and then you go there.
KP was the reason. He was Go ahead, my bad.
You go there, Jay Coop go there, KP already there. We thought like Bean was coming up with a Skyline or Oregon pipeline, and we thought that's why you chose to go to Oregon because of the pipeline. And then who was the quarterback? Was Keely Smith the quarterback?
No, they had Tony Graziani was the quarterback.
Oh, the left. Tony Graziani.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
What?
Yeah, Tony Cruz, he was the quarterback. They had played in the Rose Bowl. They had played Colorado and lost to Colorado in the Rose Bowl.
Mm.
So, yeah, And KP was a big, very impactful reason why I went to Oregon. You know what I mean? Because KP, bro, what that dude, he genuine, he's solid, but he got something about him to where you like, I want to function with bro. You know what I mean? So him being him, and then the karate they had there, and it was in the Pac-10. It wasn't too far from home, and they was winning at the time. That's the reason why I went to Oregon, man.
I remember when KP first came back from Oregon on one of his vacations, and he was the first one that made me realize how big college was. He had these. You remember back then, you guys had a turf field for a second up there, and KP had on these Oregon Duck Nike cleats. I mean tennis shoes, and I'm like, hey, these colleges got their own shoes, and I'm younger. I'm like, KP, that's big, And I remember when you there, Jay Coop there, KP there, it was like, it's Oakland there. It's Oakland and Oregon right now, man. And like, we just hoping like, hey, man. I remember they had Graziani. I thought Achilles Smith came on that team as well. But I remember they had, who was the running back? Ricky Whittle?
He did. When Ricky Whittle was, I think Ricky Whittle or Dino Filiard. That was before I came. So,
okay.
But Keely did come. See, Keely came out of JC. He came out of JC, so he came in 97. I entered Oregon in 96. So he came in 97. And after that, Joey Harrington came in like 97, 98.
Okay. So one of the big things is when you go to Oregon and you guys playing, did you play against any other people in the OEL? Because you guys started a whole list of people from OEL going into the Pac-10. First of all, you guys had 5 great D1s. You got Marvell Smith, you got yourself, Donald Deco, Jay Coop, and Jay Charlin, all go D1, and then Fremont had who they had go D1. How was it like when you played against Arizona State and Marvell was on Arizona State team? When you guys see each other now in the D1?
It was lovely, bruh. It was lovely, bruh. Because Vail also went to King with me too, man. We went to, and Vail, he didn't be into, I don't think he was into sports until he got to Skyline, and I guess being convinced him to come play football. And man, it did it ever, because Vail, man, he transformed into a monster, a beast. Like I kind of regret not going to Arizona State or taking that trip, because me and Vail, like when he played O-line and I played backer, man, it was like we used to battle. We used to do our thing, man, and it was lovely. So I know if I probably went to Arizona State, I would have been backer and I would have been competing against Vail, and it would have been some other type stuff. But yeah, man, Vail was a hog, man, and it was lovely playing against other players. Rob Love went to Utah. He came to Skyline my junior year. Rob Love, remember Rob Love? Rob Love went to Utah and he did his thing. Another underrated player, my boy Donald Deco. We didn't play against Utah State, but Donald Deco was underrated, bro. He was a beast.
Hey, we talk all the time about smart football players, and Donald Deco was one of the smartest, coachable football players. Was he like that as a young teenager kid with y'all?
Man, was he, bro? Like Deco, he ain't never been the fastest dude ever, but he was a hitter and he was smart. He'd position himself like we used to do one-on-ones and things, and he used to frustrate some of our receivers because he would just know what you about to do. You about to run to the corner, he already there. Because he wasn't the fastest, and then you trying to run a sweep up the middle. Deco coming up and he bringing it, bro. Deco was nice. He was nice, bro. Like he was very underrated, bro.
Hey, is there anyone you played on a team with that you felt like, hey, this kid or this person, my teammate, should have made it as well? He should have got the scholarship. He should have made it. Me and Ken, we know this guy had a scholarship. Me and Ken talked, and we talk about how Oliver Newell. I felt Oliver Newell should have went to the league if he don't have the incident outside the club, a freak incident that kind of derailed your career or whatnot. But we felt like, hey, man, Oliver was an athlete, and a receiver at that time where his size wasn't that much of a factor because it wasn't J.J. Stokes and then Calvin Johnson and Terrell Owens in the lead at the time. Like Isaac Keems and Marvin Harrison was in the lead. So I felt Oliver Newell could have been that way. Any other teammates that you played with that you felt would have had more of a career if things didn't happen?
See, Lou, I mean, it's a couple folks, man, that like could have went to the next level to college that didn't get a scholarship, things like that. It's a couple of them that we had on our team, and damn, who off top do I know? My boy Will Brown. We had some athletes. Even my boy Church used to play. He played old line. He played tight end. He was an athlete, bro. He was like we had some athletes that could have went to the next level and had the opportunity, and they would have did their thing with it. But you know how it goes, man.
Hey, man,
I could have easily been one of them dudes too.
Absolutely. But one of the things me and Ken talk about with Skyline, like, was the players that big, or did, like, as a linebacker, you just got to wear the 3XL shoulder pads? Because all of the linebackers at Skyline look hella big. Like, I remember how Sterling looked in his uniform. Rest in peace to Sterling. But I remember how Sterling looked. Like, Sterling take his shoulder pads off, and he's not that big of a guy. But on the football field, he's huge, right? Like, what? Rest in peace to Sterling, because I felt like he was a really good player as well that didn't get to experience his full potential at football as well. So Skyline had a bunch of them. We could go on. We talk about this all the time on the Rec Center. We could go on and on all day about athletes in the OEL on what they could have did if they didn't have to deal with all the other things that comes along with the environment and trying to be focused and be a football player as well. So we talk about that all the time. But like you said, you yourself and things like that. What was it like, Corey, being one of them high recruits and get to Oregon and don't feel like you had the career you should have had if you went elsewhere? What was that like, just dealing with mentally?
To piggyback on a little bit of Sterl, rest in peace, Sterl. But yeah, Sterl was he was an athlete. He's one of them that could have got a scholarship because he was real instrumental into why we beat St. Francis as well. But having that type of career because I went there, man. It was a lot of expectations that I didn't even really know about. Like some people were saying, like I was going there for 2 years and I'm to the league. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? But I knew me going to Oregon, I had to work, man. I had to become a receiver. So, and a lot of it was, man, I had some people come up there because a lot of people was wondering, why wouldn't I, getting the playing time of this? But they come up there and they see, like, this boy's he's a baller. Like, I'll have some people like, man, I'm going back to everybody, man. You ain't getting the right opportunity out here, man. But so I think that was the case, but it also was my mindset of what they wanted me to do at the time. I probably would, sometime I was ineligible, but I was always eligible for the season and, never missed it. Like, maybe that played a role in them giving me that opportunity to, okay, can we count on him to be here academically? That plays a role when you're on the next level, man. Even in high school, but sometimes in high school you get that other hook, that little jug, but in college it was a little different for me. So, but I always been a top competitor, one of the top on that field, period.
Me and Ken talk about this all the time about the expectations that I'm not even gonna say that a school have for you. It's the expectation that your homeboys had because you made it to this point, right? We talked about De La Salle and being a recruit from De La Salle, and you walk on college campus, and everybody expects you to be some godly figure, not like us because y'all won 95 games in a row. But then when you get on the field, it's like, dude, they expect you to be to the 2 years into the league. And then when the expectations be like, it's not your expectations, it's the people telling you this, that hey Corey, you 2 years to the league. We getting our houses picked out for when you get drafted already, exactly. Man. But one of the things you did and that one of the things you did, but you stayed there because a lot of players that came from the era was bouncing back to JC and then leaving, and then trying to go back. I played with a lot of players that came to Laney, that was at Laney that had recruits and came back as well. But you stayed there the whole 4 years, right?
Yeah, man. Believe me, man, I wanted to get up out of there. I remember talking to Will Blackwell when he's at San Diego State. And I was like, bro, I'm about to, because I also took a trip to San Diego State because Will was there too. And they threw the hell out the ball. But, and I called him up and he was like, man, you don't want to come here either, man. Because I guess, they was having a little beefy because they had a bunch of receivers, Isaac King, him. Well, they had
Marshall Falk there with him? Was Marshall Falk there with Will?
I believe so. I'm not really sure, man. I kind of think so, but not really sure, man. But San Diego State always toss that ball, man.
Yeah.
They come out with 4-5 wide, so I'm like, yeah, I took a trip. And so when I was feeling somewhere at Oregon, man, I hit him up, man. I was thinking about it, man, and I was like, yeah. Even Colorado, because Rick Neuheisel was the first coach to ever call me.
Mm.
And he was on some he was like, man, I just had an arm wrestle with the coach to see who was gonna call you first, man. And you know who won? I'm like, oh man, I'm seeing what's up with bro. he was a player's coach, man. And so I took a trip to Colorado because of Neuheisel, man. And if they wasn't so far, bro, I would have went to, man. That dude, he's somebody I could play for.
Hey, and it's good. Who was the coach? Who was actually the coach at Oregon? Was Steve Mariucci wasn't at Oregon? Who was the coach at Oregon?
No, it was Mike Bellotti.
Mike Bellotti, right?
Mike Bellotti was the head coach at Oregon, man. And my year was his first recruiting class year, as far as,
Okay.
So, yeah, it was Mike Bellotti, but that's a whole different story right there, man.
Man, Mike Bellotti and Nick Nicolati was the
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
Nicolati, he recruited me, man, and
You talking about Nick Aliotti?
Nick Aliotti. He recruited me, man. Calling me, I blew that one. That was one of the rec center funniest stories. Turn.
Yeah, man, I did see that. I'm like, man, you could have been at Oregon too, bro. And you in the car doing donuts, and I'm like, oh man.
I blame that. No. That was Clarence Lewis. See Lewis doing the donuts. I'm in the car, and I shouldn't have been there. He should have been at Laney finishing up his classes. I shouldn't have been in the car, and that happened. But you had a few teammates, man. What was it like when you heard about the passing of Clarence? Like, you off at Oregon and you hear a teammate of yours accidentally murdered or whatnot. What was that like when you heard that news?
Bro, I was hurt, bro. I was questioning shit like, bro, what happened? Who was he with? Like, and then when I'm hearing the stories, man, and I'm like, oh no, bro. Like, but when you teammates and y'all teammates, you don't really know who everybody function with. You know they function with certain people, but you don't know everybody they function with, man. So I was like, I didn't know, man. I was really hurt, bro, because Clarence he was just getting on that, like he was ascending as an athlete, like man, he was getting good at what he was doing, and he was like, man, it was. I just knew he was gonna come out and out of JC and be somebody, man. And I'm just like, when that happened, bro. It kind of set me like, man, that's why, I used to come back to Oakland all the time, but I slowed it down a little bit. You know what I mean? Because you being in that same surroundings with your same folks sometimes, and that could be something detrimental. It could be helpful at times too, but man, that was just sad because he shouldn't have, man, that's not the way that I would let that Clarence going out, man. And nobody though, man, that's some hurtful stuff, bro. And to his brother, man, much love to his brother, because I lost my brother, but not that way, man. That's just a hard thing to deal with, bro. And as him being a Titan alumni, man, it was just hard, bro. That's just hard to deal with, bro. Even to this day, man, I'm like, see Lou had potential to be a lot. Even Black Art, bro. I tell him to this day, he used to remind me of Garrison Hurst, man. He wasn't the fastest, but he had them knee injuries early. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Art had vision, Art had balance, just like Jackie Crook, but Art was just. He ran a little different, man. He ran a little more elusive than Jackie, man. But Art was hard, bro. He just could, and he played fullback, man. So, you know, he had the mentality to knock you in the mouth too. So, yeah, man, it's just
Hey,
sad to see.
hey, Art gonna watch this episode and hear you put him and Jackie Crook's name in the same sentence, and he's gonna feel like he's transcended above Jackie Crook on our running back list. Can Art gonna feel like, hey, redo the list. I'm going ahead, Jackie Crook.
Hey, but you gotta have a body of work too, man. I know he didn't have his opportunity to do that, so you can't just ascend over somebody that put in the body of work. And we like, if this would have happened, if you would have been, you would have had the opportunity. Then we can probably say that, but visually, we seen what Jackie could do and what he did. But Art was hard, bro. Art just didn't have the opportunity to.
Hey, Corey, after you finished playing, did you play after college? Did you go play arena? Did you play CFL, Canadian football? Did you play anything, any tryouts after you left Oregon?
I didn't get any NFL tryouts, man. But I did play a little arena football, a little arena up in Bakersfield, man, some arena too. But you know, when I didn't get drafted, bro, it kind of, I was like NFL bust. I wasn't trying to go to Canadian League. I wasn't trying to go play with the SaberCats and none of that at the time when it happened. You know, I got a call from a coach, man, Will Montgomery. He was a coach at the Bears at the time. He was a running backs coach, and he told me how he said he thought I was the best tight end coming out, and I'm like, what? Like, you know, Ty Heat was coming out, but I was 235. He was like, man, if you bulk up, he's like, Ty Heat played at 235, 240, but he came to come by at 252. I'm like, what did he do? I'm like, that's a lot. So I'm like, man. So, but yeah, man, I didn't get that chance, man. It's crazy because, like we were speaking on Mike Bellotti, it's crazy because of the name I had, and Coach Bean used to call me up all the time, like, man, what are you doing up there? Because, you know, when I got my shot, bruh, it was either first down or touchdown, man. My whole highlight is when they put me in the game, bro, real talk. So he was like, what you doing up there? I was having defensive coordinators spook to, you know, when I come in the game, they already know, you know, we throwing the ball. I wasn't the best blocker.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, man, it was just, you will want your coach to help you get to the next level, to speak on you, to help you get to that next level. And that I didn't get that coming from my college coach. Like, I had the Saints come up there, work me out, man. I had my brother up there, rest in peace, big bro. And he was telling me the things that my coach was saying. And he was like, but the coach from the Saints was loving what I was doing, but he hearing something in his ear about something else. It's like, man. So that's what that's something I dealt with. But, you know, to each his own, man. It didn't make me or break me, but you will want that positive feedback from a coach.
Your story when you saying this sound real familiar to Brandon Payton. Brandon Payton, shout out to BP. He let us know that when he was at Oregon State, basically, their coach was hating on him with scouts and tryouts and things like that, man. It's one of the things where, I mean, I can't understand it, to be honest with you, because I'm seeing an influctuation of things happening now where coaches are withholding high school kids letters from them and things like that, not giving them the letters. I can't understand why these type of things happen, why a coach is not pushing to get to the next level or things like that. So to hear that was your experience from a coach that, especially at that level, like when we look at Arizona State, you walk through their locker room, you walk through their hallways, they in on their team room. Every person that made it to the league picture is on that. It's like it helps our school a little more, and don't understand why that would be the outcome with a lot of these coaches, you know. But that is very, very unfortunate situation. But how many coaches actually tried to, because of your size, tried to push you to tight end? You know, was that even a thing during your college years? Like, hey, let's move him to tight end.
I went to tight end. I played.
You went to tight end.
Yeah, I played my last two or three at tight end.
Okay.
Yeah, because, you know, I got moved to tight end, man, and they moved me to. But this was the thing. See, Coach Jeff Teffer came in. I used to have Dirk Cutter as my offensive coordinator when I first went to Oregon, and he used to know how to use a big body receiver, whatever, you know. And he used to, you know. But when Jeff Teffer came in, I remember him telling me, like, he was telling me about some dude named Dunn. He played that he coached at Fresno State or whatever, and how he can take me and move me to the H back position and have me out there in the slot. He told me I was gonna catch like 90 balls. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, you know, like what they're doing with tight ends now, like he had a vision that I didn't see at the time, and I should have accepted it more. But going from tight end and detaching out to like a receiver and getting a mismatch on a safety and backers like that, that's what Terrell was bringing to the table. And I had my own plays, bro. At Oregon, I had my own plays, but during the game, they would get called sparingly. In practice, we running them, but they come sparingly during the game, like, you know. But he seen a vision. He moved me to tight end. I went to tight end, man. It was just easy as I don't know what to get open. I'm going against, linebackers and strong safeties, and I've been going against agile corners all this time. So it was easy, and I had a big body and I can catch. So that I can see, how they use tight ends now. Wow.
Do you feel you was ahead of your time? Like you get some people that was.
Hey, a lot of people say, hey, I got some people on my team, brother, because when they moved me to tight end, I had some people on my team come to me like, why the hell are they doing this? Like people are unexpected, like linemen. Like I'm like, bro, they was like, so that put me in a position like, yeah, man, like, so I remember my tight end coach telling me, man, he's like, man, you need to cut that umbilical cord from receiver to tight end, man. Because I used to, when they doing blocking drills over there, I'm over there doing one-on-ones with the receiver. Mm-hmm. I didn't embrace it like I should have. And that also could put you in the doghouse with a coach. Oh, so yeah. Now I understand like maybe why I wasn't getting that playing time. But then when I started accepting, it was like, man, come on now, I'm ready. So, but
Hey, man, and when you look at the receiver, the way the position transcended, right? It became the athletic basketball fast type position. You look at Travis Kelce when he did it. What's your boy name? Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez was a receiver at tight end,
Aaron Hernandez was hard as a football player, but that boy
he was the truth. He was the truth. And it's like, hey, man, Corey might have been ahead of his time back then, man.
I had some people tell me like, man, you was before your time, man. They didn't know how to use what you was doing, man. I'm like, man, I don't see how, but I mean, hey, it happened. So, hey,
Corey, before we wrap up, man, just give us a few words, man, to send us up out here, man. If you shout out to, man, I did a lot of digging, man. I seen that you and Tabiti was on a lot of little tours together. The Shrine, All-American together, and all of those things, man. So shout out to Tabiti, man. We got to bring Tabiti on the show and let him tell his story as well, man.
Shout out to Tabiti, man.
Man, but definitely thanks for coming on the show, Corey, man. Give us some words to send us out.
Be true to yourself, man. Invest in yourself, invest in your kids, and have expectations for yourself and understand that it's natural vicissitudes of life, meaning you're gonna have your ups, you're gonna have your downs. It's just how you battle through them and what makes you a true person and tests your character.
Absolutely, man. Corey, who is someone you would want to hear on the Rec Center, man, and hear their story, man?
Man, everybody y'all bring on, man, be fired, man. So, man, I can't single out anyone, man, but because I know y'all a little bit younger than we are, but we got some hogs out there that need to, you go ahead and spit on what they need to say and how they felt and what they did through the OAL. And like y'all got my boy Derek Gardner, man, and what he's transitioned to and being a coach just like Deco, and propelling other people to get championships, and also diving off and venturing off into other aspects of life like real estate and investing and doing things like that, man. So shout out to y'all for putting it out there and having y'all view on this and starting this up, man. Much love to y'all, man. Keep pushing.
Hey, the person we got to bring on Ken is Jace Goree. Like even though I'm Lou Fisher biased. That's my dog. But I got a cool relationship with Jace as well. But I never heard no one in our start bench cut when we picked quarterback from '94 till now say Jace Goree was not the best OEL quarterback.
I wanted to be like Jay Squirty.
Oh yeah. Hey, but to piggyback though, that Billy Cockerham situation never it happened kind of before because I remember Jamani was the quarterback for Skyline. He used to be in the streets a little bit. So IU Rockman came from Berkeley High to Skyline, and also
That. I remember
yeah.
that.
See, Beam, it ain't that wouldn't Beam first time. So shout out to my boy Cahill, man. It didn't happen before, bro. So it's just the way it's.
Yeah, if it happened in these day and age, definitely Cahill, Jamani Hogg, all of them guys is hitting the transfer portal. We're out. We're not doing this.
Or just go play 7-on-7.
Hogg situation was a little different. Money Hogg situation was a little different, man.
In the transfer portal, man. But thanks again, Corey, for coming on the show, man. Appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all keep pushing, bro.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
We need to have a OAL alumni picnic, man.
Absolutely.
I was trying to tell folks, we need to get that together, man.
Hey, Ken, man.
Yeah. Shout out to my boy Marshawn.
Ken.
Shout out to Marshawn, them town royalty. I played against Marshawn in hoop, man.
Oh yeah.
I talked to Levy before we interviewed you. He had a lot of he said, man, quiet as kept, Corey was like a damn good hooper.
Oh yeah, I used to get it in. I was dunking in junior high, man.
That's what he said. That's what he told me.
Yeah, man.
In ninth grade, you was like 6'4" or 6'2" in the ninth grade or something.
We went undefeated, man. We went undefeated and won the whole thing, man. So my coach, rest in peace, Coop. Coop was our coach, man. And Earl McKelvey. I got a shout out. Man.
Before you go, I got a good friend that watched this show. He went to King of States with you guys as well. But he was a hooper. He went to Skyline with you too. Please tell me if this guy was a baller. My man, Jay West.
I knew you was gonna say Jay West. I knew you was gonna say Jay. I'm gonna tell you like this. Jay West has skills. Jay West has skill, man. He can hoop. He wasn't a slouch at all. He can hoop. But he just didn't play on the teams. I don't know why he didn't play.
So
I don't know why he didn't play, but Jay West had some hoop game though, and he was a little scrapper, dude. He didn't back down, man. So, Jay West, man, much price to Jay West. He has some game.
Ken, let me tell you, how we competitive we are from Oakland. So I see Jay West. He's older than me. I think he's older than you too, Corey, isn't he?
He older than me.
He older than Corey too, Ken. But I see him while I'm hooping at the school ground, him and his homeboy, and they asked us to play us for some money in a 2-on-2. The competitive nature in me is not going to back down for that. I'm too competitive, and we just going to have to play. But he was older, so I'm like, well, I'm 16, he's 19, and he just put me in a post. I was 140 pounds. He put me in a post, and they beat us for our money. Jay West would not let that go.
Because Jay West still probably like 140 right now. He can't let it go, man.
Hey, definitely, man. Corey, thanks for coming on the show, brother. We appreciate it.
For sure, man. Y'all, much love to y'all, man. Have a good one.
You too. That's a dope episode, Ken, man.
That's like somebody I'd like look up to, like much respect, bro. Much respect.
That's a lot of history in one interview, man.
Yeah.
When we talk about, man, knowing your history, to know what it's like now and the reason, like I said, man, Corey played in an era where Ohio beat him in the championship. And then Ohio goes back to the championship the next year. And then Ohio don't get back to the Silver Bowl until it's crazy, I think, until Omari Murphy and Coop come back and coach. But look who had to bring it back. The person that last won the Silver Bowl, Omari Murphy, is the same guy that brings it back full to get them back into the Silver Bowl. Shout out to Omari Murphy, because now he's taking over a coaching job at Fremont High School with a new stadium, Ken.
Man, bro, that's like a D1 facility, dog.
And then he brings Coop back on the coaching staff.
Which I'm a little salty about, because when I was coaching, I was begging Coop to come join me, and
I tried to get Coop in too, man, and stuff like that.
As soon as Amari get a job, I'm like, Coop, come on. man.
But I'm excited to see if them being there could do a little bit of transfer of power back to the OEL with competition-wise, because McClymonds have a lot stronghold on the OEL, man, right now, football-wise. So it's going to be great to see what them guys will do, man. We might got to bring Amari Murphy over and see what kind of challenges he's facing going into that, trying to bring him over. Like, he's trying to rebuild a high school during COVID season. Can't really work out. Can't, so I have to see how that work out for him.
Well, it always take a couple of years. You got to, number one, they got great facility, probably the best facilities, right? And then number two, it take a couple of years. And then he's got to go, with the R word, recruiting and, get into that Pop Warner system. But that's where Omari thrives. Omari is really tapped in, along with Coop in that Pop Warner.
Definitely with Coop
environment. So, and that's, bro, you got to be tapped in with the Pop Warner.
And Coop had the 7-on-7. It's definitely going to be I'm excited for it because it gives chance at bringing the competition back into the OAL.
Yeah.
A lot of the kids that's in the OAL now don't know the OAL that we speak of. They don't know that OAL, and it's so much history, and it was so much competitive that we shouldn't get looked at in other leagues as if you win the OAL. That don't mean you're good. You're still not good because you won the OAL. It's the OAL. Yeah. That should never be our history. Our history shouldn't be that right now. So definitely, hopefully them guys can bring it back, man. But great episode. Shout out to LaCorey Collins, man. And I'm gonna have to do a lot of fact checking, man, because I want to know who else since Corey left was
number one
in the nation, or even top 3 at their position.
The only one I could think of, well, somebody said Derek Hill was number 3 out of MAC.
Derek Hill was number 3.
Josh Tatum went to MAC. He played middle linebacker, went to SC.
What about Marshawn? Where's Marshawn?
Marshawn was same year as Adrian Peterson, so I think.
Yeah, but was he in the top 3 at his position?
Yeah, I think he was number 2 or 3 because it was always Adrian Peterson, Marshawn. I think Steve Slayton was around Marshawn's year. So, but yeah, Marshawn was definitely top 3. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I remember that.
Definitely can't wait to. So we got to just do our digging, man.
Kyle Reed was top. He wasn't number 1, but Kyle Reed went to the Elite 11. So he had to be top.
Elite 11?
Yeah, he had to be top 11.
I'll be biased on this. I have my thoughts on them. I have my thoughts on a lot of camps in Elite 11s and stuff like that because, like Corey said, he was going to these high school camps and combines. Ken, I never heard high school camps and combines when I was in high school.
Not when you were. I do remember my senior year, the Nike, because it was at Stanford. I went.
Yeah,
but that was like the first or second. Yeah, but like when you was there, nah.
But Corey older than me, and he was going to
high school. That's weird. Combine. Yeah.
So it was the things where your coach had to be tapped in to know these things,
Maybe.
One of them things, man, but great episode, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. That was one I've been looking for a while, just because I've heard of him and knew of him for so long, been a fan of him for so long. I was like, bro, I got to get a chance to really hear this story.
Listen to me. If there's a better way, then hear me out, to write your story ending high school, ending story, it couldn't end no better way than interception, pick 6, while your team is losing in the Silver Bowl.
Yeah.
If that was me, I would be on my Al Bundy moment. Like, I'm never not talking about it. Like, this is what I did, right? This is what I did at that moment. The biggest play possibly. Only thing that could beat this type of play is a Hail Mary win. Other than that, the pick 6 to the house while your team is losing is like they say, big players made big plays, and they came up here. Shout out to Corey, man.
It's like folklore type of play, man. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Rec Center podcast. We want to give a special thanks to our guest, LaCorey Collins. You can catch us on Instagram at the Rec Center podcast. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Rec Center. I'm Kenny Edwards for Lorenzo Parham. We out.